Hello, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Please, okay. Good evening. Welcome, Dorcas. Good evening. God bless you. Good evening. So, please, I need to know if you guys can hear me. I just pray let our network be good to us tonight, okay? I'm wait for somebody to please help me to confirm that the sound's okay, and then we are good to go. Be this one now. I come out. Be all this one. Hello, good evening. Please, can you hear me? I want to know if you can hear me, okay? If my sound is okay, let me know, please, on the comment section. Okay, Abigail, let me know if you can hear me. The sound okay, Chioma? Please let me know on the comment if the sound is okay. I'm just going to wait and then we are good to go. Okay, Chioma. Okay, thank you so much, Abigail. I appreciate it. All right. So, guys, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut this asymmetric gown. You can call it asymmetric and blouse, sorry. So you can see this is what we are going to learn how to cut today, okay? It is a simple blouse and this is a beautiful piece. I'm just even looking at it. If this is something I will try. Okay, so let's get started. So like I said in our live stream before, I normally prefer to start with our back pattern, then we'll do front later. But because of the network issues, I have decided to be starting with the hard one. You understand, the difficult one, and then later, even if the network now misbehave, at least we not go lose so much. The people that are watching, and then I'm trying to adjust my things. It looks like the lighting is so much. Yes, that side is just so whitish. Okafor, you are welcome. So yes, so we'll start with our front piece. Like I said, when we are done, let's pray let the network be good. Okay, so we'll be starting with our front patterns now first. So the people that missed out, when they come can always go back and rewatch the video. Okay, so for this particular pattern, like I normally tell my students, we're going to use the, you can decide to just use a waist dart, but I think we'll just shoulder that, so that will be easy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to mark a point. So this is our start point. That part is going to be for our shoulder, okay? And then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to mark our bust point, okay? Rosemary, you're welcome. Unlimitable lady, you're welcome. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take our bust point, which is 10 inches. Our under bust is 13. Then our waist, for the waist, I'm going to be using, this is the front waist. I'm going to use 18 or 17.5. And then the full length. Okay. Yes, I just realized that those into two. Okay. So yes, it has a half cut. So 13 inches for my under bust, and then I'm going to mark 15 inches. That's for my top length, okay? It is not a full straight blouse. We are going to this way, okay? So I'm just going to mark all of those lines. 15 inches is what I'm using for the top length, okay? I'm using 15 inches, and then my under bust is 13. My bust point is 10 inches. These are all of the measurements, okay? So the next thing we are going to do, we're going to add our, you guys should let me know where you're watching me from. You guys should please like this video. I would appreciate it, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll mark 7 inches for our shoulder. I'll mark 7 inches. I'll just mark it, that's which is 14 inches. And then I'm going to be adding 1.5 inch to the shoulder for allowance. So like I said, I'm doing a shoulder dart. So from that point, I am going to come down by 8 inches, which is for my arm hole. So the full armhole is 16. So I'll divide that into two. That's what I normally do. I'll measure round. There are other ways of getting your round armhole, but most times I just prefer this one that I'm just going to measure round, okay? So the next thing that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, which I am going to use my shoulder slope. So I'll just connect that to that shoulder line, okay? So the next thing, I'm going to check half of what I have here. I'll divide that into two. I'll come in back like 1/4 inch, excuse me, and then I'll just connect it this way. And then from this point, I'm going to add my bust circumference. So for this, the dimensions I'm making use of, our bust is 36, our under bust is 30, the waist is 34. Okay, so those are the measurements that we're going to be using. So from this point, I'm going to measure my 36, divide by 4. I have 9 inches, and then I'll add 2 inches stitching allowance to that point, okay? So I've not added that yet. It's okay. Most times I actually don't really do that. I just normally used to mark. I just normally used to create my curve. This is not my right pattern curve. I just normally used to I'll just mark my armhole, just curve it in like this. I usually don't get any specification on that part, okay? That's what I normally do. So the next thing now we are going to do, well, let's take out our dart. So the dart, we're going to use our nipple to nipple, which is the bust span. So for this one is 8. I'll divide that into 2. I'm going to have 4 inches. So that 4 inches, I'm going to put that 4 inches across all of the lines, okay? And then when I've marked that 4 inches across all of the lines, I'm going to curve it. I'll just mark it like this, okay? And then before I continue, like I said, we're doing a bust dart. So I need to mark the neckline, okay? So I'm going to come to this point like this. I want to mark the neckline. So for the neckline, I'm using 3 inches. I'll just mark 3 inches. It is a V neckline. You can add any neckline of your choice. So I'm just going to go with 5 inches here. And then I'm going to use the curve. It is not a sharp V, so that is why you can see I am using those curved parts, okay? So the next thing that I have here, I'm going to check what I have here left, and then I'm going to divide that into 2. Yeah, I'm going to divide that into 2. So I'll just check what I have here. I'll mark it this way so that I'll get it accurately. I'll just place it like this, and then I'm going to mark that point, okay? So once I mark that point, I am going to connect that line. I'll connect it to this point. I'll just mark it, let it come this way. And then the next thing I want to do, you remember when I was marking, I added like 1.5 inch to my line. That's to my shoulder measurement. So you guys that are just coming, you're welcome. Let me know. Thank you much. Those of you that are giving me hearts, thank you. Let me know where you're watching me from. When I'm done, I'm going to raise my head and greet all of you very specially, okay? Remember, I added 1.5 inch to my pattern. Normally, I should just like 1 inch, because even that extra 1 inch, you're still going to take that out. So what I'm going to do now, I want to take out a dart, okay? Understand? So I want to take out a dart. So that's 1 inch, 1.5 inch that I took. I'm going to take 1/2 inch to my right, and then I'll take 1/2 inch to my left, okay? So that's that. I'm just going to connect that dart line like this. I'll connect it to the shoulder line this way. And then once I get to this point, I don't want this point. I don't want it to be, it's not going to be straight. Do you get? Okay, so I'll just create like a small curve, and then I'm going to come to my under bust line, okay? Oh yes, I'm going to come to my under bust line. So for the under bust, I don't want that to be too big. It's like a formal dress. So I'm just going to use like 1.5. You can do 2 inches, okay? But if you don't want the bust to come out too much, you can do 1.5, or you can just do 2 inches, okay? And then after doing that 2 inch, you mark it on the bust point line. You are going to connect it. Let me use my better pan that will give me better curve. I'm going to take this. I'll connect this now. Remember, I'm going to connect this. I think you see I've marked the wrong point. I've marked the wrong point. Thank God that I noticed it. Okay, I did not mark the wrong point though. I did not mark the wrong point because I was wondering about this curve. So this my bust point, this my chest line point, under bust and then waist. Okay, so from this point I'm going to connect it to my point, because I thought that line up there was not the chest line. That was what I was wondering. So I'll connect it this way. Okay, so when I connect, you see I've connected it, but this side is looking funny. Do you understand? So I'm going to take my pattern curve, like I'll place it, can you see? And then I'll maintain that curve to get that beautiful curve. Can you see? You see that beautiful curve? So I'm just curve that. So now it gives me a better perfect fit. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark this line. This is my line. I'll just mark it down this way. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now to take out my full body measurement. So in order for me to take out, so I'm going to add a bust. It is a what do you call it, a bust dart to it, so for you guys to see in case you want to put it or you don't want to put it. Okay, all right, so I'm going to mark my bust circumference, which is 36, divided by 4. I have 9. Remember my 2 inches, which I've already added, and then I'm going to add a stitching allowance. So I could do 1.5 inch for the stitching allowance. And then I'm just to come to my under bust circumference, which is under bust line, sorry, which is 30. 30 divided by 4, I have 7.5. You understand? So I'm going to mark my 2 inch that I'll bring that back into my pattern, and then I'll add 1.5 inch that I used. And then I'm going to come to my waist area, I'll divide into 4, I'll mark it, and then I'm going to add my 2 inches that, and then add my stitching allowance. Okay, so once I'm done with all of these lines, I'm going to connect them like this one. I'm going to connect this one like this to this point, and then this one I'll connect to this point like this. So this line I am just going to extend it, just blend that all up. Okay, so if you want to add a bust dart to this, all you are going to do, you are going to extend your pattern. Make sure that you add an extra of 1 inch to your pattern. Okay, wide drafting, like an extra 1 inch to your pattern. Okay, so that's an extra 1 inch, and then you're going to come to this point like this. Okay, you're going to come to this point, you're going to, because you're adding 1 inch, you're just going to check from here to this point is 1 inch, and then you're going to connect that to that point like that. So I'll just use broken line, do this. Okay, that's if you want to add a bust dart. So you can see that is all we are going to be doing. So for the neck, so you can close, you can open this and then close up your shoulder dart and close up that part. Okay, so this is all for the top part. So I'm just going to cut this, so I don't want to waste my paper. So I'm just going to open up my paper. In case you have questions, please, you can drop your question in the comment section. Okay, so I'll show you guys how to cut this right now. And then okay, so I'll just open up. So like why am I using these scissors now? So I'm just going to do this now, and then I'm just going to go and open this up. So it will help this part. So at this point, it is my paper tape that will help my life here. So I'm going to mark it. So if you notice, that there's already an obstruction which you will need to fill. Okay, it has already truncated, so you have to mark it. So you mark it like this. Do you understand? If you don't it like that, if you cut it, it's going to alter the pattern. Okay, so I'm supposed to even do that before I do the final trimming. So that's okay. So the next thing now, I am going to cut this one. So you remember there's a dart here, you understand? So since I had already closed that one, and just cut out my dart easily like this. Okay, and then I'll take this out. So this will help me to close that shoulder area like that. So this is our front pattern. Can you see this part? This particular pattern is a very beautiful pattern. Okay, so you guys should please smash on the like button. You guys should please like my video. So the next thing, let's cut the down part of this blouse. Okay, so for the down part of this blouse is a simple process. So I'm just going to place this so that we can use it to make it easy. So the first line we're going to mark here is our so for this particular pattern you actually don't need to fold your fabric like a flare, because if you notice it has like a fitness around the waist. Do you understand? Jonathan, you're welcome. Sadijat, you're welcome. Oka for Mercy, thank you so much. You're watching from Obolo for wow, thank you so much. So I'm just going to mark the waistline. So don't fold it like a flare or a triangle. So you're just going to use a straight pattern to actually achieve this. Okay, just so you have your waist circumference. Because if you fold it like a triangle, that waist area is going to be too big. Okay, so that's our waistline. The next thing we want to do, we want to take out our full length. Remember that our top length was 15 inches. Okay, so I'll just place like this, 15 inches, and then the next thing I want to do, I want to mark the full length of my blouse. Okay, so for the full length of the blouse, I'm going to do 27, just add 1 inch, which is 28. So let me do this. So I took out the 15 inches, that's for our top length. So like I said, 27 plus 1 inch, which is 28. Okay, so I'm going to mark this. So like I said, if you do it at an angle, it's going to be too big. Okay, so I'm going to mark that. So another thing that I just want to keep on checking my pattern. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, so because this part we need our shape on this side, so this part you're going to mark the shape of your blouse. That's like we're going to give it a shape, you get. So that tummy area, you're going to mark it, you're going to measure it. Okay, so that tummy area, this is our 15. So this is how I'm going to place my tape. I'll place my tape at 15 inches. So this is 15 inches. So after 15 inches, the next thing, that 15 inches, if you notice, it is because it is a half cut. It is not really my real waist. You understand? It's just a little bit cut above I'm just a little bit below my under bust. Okay, so now my actual, what do you call it? My actual tummy, that's my actual waist, is 19 inches. Okay, so I'll mark the 19 inches. So when I mark the 19-inch part, so the top length, that's my full blouse length, this part. So I want you guys to see. So I've marked my 19 inches. So 19 inches is around this part, which is around the navel area, which is our normal waistline. You understand? So that's around this point. So put that, you need that. And then the next thing you want to do, you see, from this point to this point, that's our actual top length. That's this part. So like I was trying to say, this part now is our waist measurement. You understand? This part is just a little bit below our under bust. Okay, so you mark your waist, which is your belly button, and then from your shoulder to this point, which is which is the actual length. So any other addition is like extra to make that part to slant. Okay, so for that part, so our top length, most time our top, that's the normal blouse, is usually 21 or 22 inches. Okay, so for this, we're just going to use 20 inches, which is like our normal blouse length. So I'm going to mark all those lines. Okay, why am I doing all this? Is because I want to have an accurate measurement. If you notice, it is parts, they are fitted on the blouse. Okay, so another way you can do this, you can actually do this as a full blouse, and then you just that out. So that would work also. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to add waist measurement on this part. Okay, remember our waist measurement, we use 34. Okay, so we use 34 divide by 4. So I'm just going to add that, and then I'm going to add, so for this down part, I'm just going to use like 1 inch dart. Okay, so it is very important. Okay, so I'll just add 34, and then I'm going to add my 2 inches like that. I'll mark it like that, and then I'm going to come to that tummy area, that's this belly button. Most times what I normally do when I measure my customers, when I measure this part, I normally measure that belly button part. Very important. Okay, okay, thank you, Lord. Timeless trends, thank you so much. I normally measure that. It is very important. Don't assume that what using under here. That's one from the below the underbust, like 2 inches below the underbust, which is usually our half cut. It's not the measurement that you are going to get around the tummy area. So I normally measure those parts. It gives accurate fit, okay? So for this part, I'm going to come down here. So I'm going to use, so for this, I actually did not measure that. So I'm just going to use, let me just say, I'm going to use 35 inches because it's usually bigger than the top part of your underbust, okay? So I'll use 35 inches. So that 35, I'm just going to divide that 35 into 4 and then see what I have. Sharp, sharp. I'll mark it here. And then I'm going to add the same 2.5 inches for that and for stitching allowance. I'll mark it like that. And then, okay, this part now. Okay, so this part now, note, this part is your blouse waist. It is important. You get that part is your blouse waist. That's from here. That's this part where the blouse ends. That's your blouse waist, okay? For that, you can decide to use like 40 inches. Most times, that's like the down part. Decide to use 40 inches. I'll mark it. And then I'm going to add my stitching allowance. And then for the down part of my blouse, I'll just check what I have here. I have 13. I'll bring that 13 down. I'll just add like maybe 2 inches extra to make it 15 inches, okay? So all of these lines, if you notice, so you can just watch. Can you see? I just want to use broken lines to do this, and then you'll see how my blouse this is going to come. Can you see? You see the shape it brought. So before I do that, I finish that up and take out the dart because you need to take out that from this waist part. If not, it's not going to fit properly, okay? So remember our bust span, which is 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark inches, okay? I'll just mark it, let it reach the waist area like we normally do on our skirt, okay? So it is just a simple dart of 1 inch. So that 1 inch, that half inch to my right and then half inch to my left, just like what we do on our skirt. It is very important. If not, that part, if you do not add that dart, it's going to gape. The part will just swell up somehow. You get? So after this, the next thing I am going to do now, I'm going to cover up. You understand? So first of all, I'll use my pencil to do this. So I'll use my pencil to mark this. Okay. So I've marked that out. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to create our style line. Okay. Remember our style line. So in order for us to create our line, I want to double check my measurements. Okay, yes. So this is my 21 inches, which is my blouse length. So that 21 inch, I'm just going to add 1 inch to it. Why am I adding extra 1 inch? What I just did actually does not, you don't need to do that. But why did I do that? Just in case the thing gets truncated. So that is why I did that. It is nothing. You can decide to go with your normal 20 inches to that point. Okay, so from that point, now I want to create our asymmetric. Okay, so in order for us to create this asymmetric look, we're just going to check from here to here, how many inches do we want it to be. So since we already have our 21 here, so for this, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come up maybe 3 inches. First of all, I'm using my pencil to do all of this before I transfer, before I use my marker to check. You get to check and make sure that everything is okay. Okay, so let me use 3.5 inches so that it will be very distinct. Mark my 3.5 inches. So from that 3.5 inches point that I marked, I am just going to come from that 3.5 inches, I'm come to this point, and then I'm going to check. So I'll mark just like 5 inches. You notice that's not the part where my dart is. You understand? It is not on that actual dart line, okay? That dart leg. So I'm just going to use like 5 inches, or let's see, use 6 inches. So that's the beauty of when you are using a pattern. So from that point, I am going to create like, I'm just trying to eyeball this, okay? So note, I'm just, okay? I'll mark it this way. So I used, like I said, I'll give you all of the dimension. I use about, so this is about 3.5 inches. You can do 4 inches. The more you go up, the more it will be more distinct, okay? It's that way. So this one is about 4 inches. I'll mark it this way. Just mark it from here to this point. We use 6 inches, okay? So after marking that, the next thing we want to do, remember our length, which is our actual length. You get? So from that actual length now, where we are now going to create like a curve. You get to those points. You see, this is how simple and easy this is. So from that top length, so that was why I say you come down. But if you don't, like I told you, if you don't want to come, use your exact measurement. This is when you place it like this. When you take out the 15 for your top length, this is going to be, when you take out that 15 for your top length, this is 21 inches. This is our actual length of the blouse. Okay, so for that point, in case you don't want to do this, you don't want to come down because of anything, you can just do this. So I'm just using this free hand first, and then I'll check it. So once I mark it, and then I'll take this up this way. Okay, so I think I like what I see on my pattern. I think it's okay. So in case you have questions, you can drop your questions. Okay, so I am just going to mark this like this. So please note, when you are doing this, don't keep your pattern on fold. Don't keep your pattern on fold. Open up your pattern when you want to do this. Okay, in case you want to increase it, you want it to even be longer, in case you want your blouse, that's the down part, to be longer, you can actually extend like that. You can actually extend that. So this is it. You can see our blouse. Can you see the shape already? So it is a simple process. So this one, we can mark this, and then can you see? So we can actually mark this. So this is how simple and easy this is. So you can see all of the patterns. So the thing you are going to do on this part is just add your darts. That's all. So that that part around the waist part is not going to gape. Okay. So now let's cut our pattern. So let's cut out our pattern. So what use this? So like I said, that's the beauty of using a pattern. You can always adjust all of your piece before you transfer to your fabric. Okay, so you can see, so this is the down part of our blouse, and then this is the top. Can you see? Can you guys see? You see how beautiful it is? Simple and easy. Okay, so simple and easy. So for the back, the picture of the back is actually not here, but I just if you are going to do this for the back, so this is what you are going to use to cut out the back also, because the back is going to be like this. So it depends. No, the back might be like this, it might not be like this. So but let's work that the back will be like this. So now we can draft out the back. So now this is like the most difficult part. So we have done the front. So now let's draft the back. Okay, so the back is a sharp one. Please thank God for the network tonight. You guys should please like this video. Today that network allowed us. You should please check this side. You see three dots. Just click on the like button. You see, once you click the three dots, you see like. Please like the video, okay? So we're just going to mark it that way for that part, and then we are going to mark our bust and point, which is 10 inches, and then our under bust is 13, and then we're using 15 inches. So that 15 inches for the back. Okay, remember, for the I added an extra 1 inch because of the bust that, but if you don't want to put that at that side, sorry, that the side, that if you don't put it, you don't need to add you that extra one. Okay, so this is the back now. That is what I am trying to draft. So you guys should please like the video. Okay, so I'm using 14 inches for the shoulder again, which is 7. I'll add half because I'm not adding any shoulder, that I'm just going to cut out straight, and then I'll add half inch for, sorry, I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll connect that into the line, the shoulder line. So from this point, I'm going to mark 8 inches, which is my round armhole, and then I'll just connect it this way. I'll mark it this way, and then like I said, this is my back pattern. So I'm just going to, so this was what I was telling you guys. So I just normally used to mark. I don't bother adding the waist, whatever, the bust. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now, we want to take out our dart. So for the dart, we're using the same 4 inches. You know the bust pan was 8 inches, so I'll divide that into two. I'm adding 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark it like this. Okay, and then we're using 1 inch for our dart. I'll take ½ inch here and then ½ inch here. So I'll just connect that like this and then like this. Okay, so next thing we'll come to this point and then mark our neckline, which is 3 inches. So the back neckline is going to be a round neckline, so we're going to do 2 inches. Okay, thank you so much, those of you that are just coming in. You should please like the video. Okay, all right, so I'll just mark the round neckline like that, and then after marking the round neckline, I'll check what I have here. I'm just going to divide that into two, and then I'll connect my shoulder. I just want the dart to run to that point like that. Okay, yes, so like I said, I'm not taking out anything from the back dart. I'll just mark it down, and then the next thing we want to do, we want to take out our full body measurement. Our is 36 divided by 4, we have 9. I'll add 1 inch for my dart and then 1.5 inch stitching allowance. I'll come to my under. I'm using 30 divided by 4, I have 7.5 plus 1 inch, that's 8.5, and then I'll add my 1.5 inch stitching allowance. I'll mark it that way, and then I'll come to part. I'll divide that into 4, I'll mark it, and then add 1 inch that, and then 1.5 inch stitching allowance. Okay, so these are all of, so I'll just connect all of the patterns this way. Okay, I'll connect it. So now we are done for our back pattern. So the next thing we want to do, we want to cut out the back. So it is a simple process. You don't need any. The only thing you are going to add to this, if you are using a stretch fabric, you don't need to add a zip. You can add button to the back. Most times I've done a lot of tutorial that way, that you can just use clips for the back. But if you don't want to do that, you're going to be adding a dart. So I'll cut out this my half and bodice pattern. I'm going to keep it. So you are going to add a zip allowance. So that zip allowance is going to run into the down part of the back pattern also. So note, okay, note that. So when you're placing on place it on your fabric, you are going to extend with your zip allowance. Okay, so now to cut our back pattern, so we're going to use this to cut the back pattern. Okay, I'm just trying to find I have so many patterns here. So this one is another pattern. I'm just looking for the one to use. Okay, all right, all right. I'm going to cut this. So I've used this one before, but I'm just going to, so I'll cut this so that I can use it on my back, for my back pattern. Okay, so I'll fold this now into two, and then I'm going to place this. It did not enter. So there's something I'm even trying to do. Okay, and something I'm trying to do. So for the back pattern, this is how we place our back pattern. We're going to place it. I wish I would have showed you guys how to take in the, what do you call it, the zip, in case it's so that it will not have any zipper bulge. I would have showed you guys, but my pattern paper is already shortened, so I'll do that in another tutorial. So this is for my back, this is my for my pattern. So this is how I am going to place it pattern. So if you notice, the only difference that I have, I'm going to add a zip allowance. Okay, do you understand? So you see my zip allowance is going to be here. I'm thinking of using a full pattern to do this. It's just that my pattern papers are out. I would have used a double pattern paper to do this. So this is how you are going to cut the back piece. So now this is going to be our zip allowance for the back. Okay, so make sure you add a zip allowance for your back pattern, because a zip is going to run through that back, except like I said, you are going to be using buttons. So if you are going to use button, you actually don't need a zip allowance. So guys, we are going to be stopping our tutorial for today. So this is our back, and then this is our front. So we're going to be stopping here today. So thank you so much, all of you that joined it. Okafor, Mercy, good evening. Francisca, evening, welcome. Mama Ga, nice, thank you so much. Greetings, thank you so much from Ghana. Abigail Kwate, thank you so much. Timeless Trends, thank you so much. Sajid Teaches, you're welcome. God bless you. Car for Mercy, you're welcome. Aidadu Morira, you're welcome. Sorry, because I Francisca Alban, Rosemary, you're welcome. Unlimitable Lady, you love that name. Thank you so much. Yuka for Mary, Mercy, thank you so much. Abigail Kwate, Chioma Ezenwa, thank you so much. Abigail, thank you so much. Ayogu Dokas. God bless you all that tuned in to our tutorial for tonight. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. If you guys notice, I've not been online. Like, I was having a little bit of issue. Would I call it a issue? Just thank God for everything. God, my baby, my little son was a little bit down, but thank God for everything. God saved him. You understand? God really saved him. God healed him. So I've not been, but thank God he's so responding. God has healed him perfectly well. So that is why you guys can see me smile, and then I can come here and do tutorial for you guys. So I just want to say thank you to God Almighty for healing hands. I don't take it for granted. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow by God's grace. Bye.